Hey guys, it's Fragging Fred here, and today I'm going to teach you how to generate your levels in your game using image data. It's pretty simple, and I hope that you guys have a little bit of knowledge of Lua before you start this tutorial, because I'm not going to explain every single detail. So first of all, what you'll need is a add tile function, which basically just serves as like a function that adds a tile to a grid. You've got your x, y with height parameters, which get shoved into the grid and stored, and and then you've got your read map function, which is the core of this whole system. So it really is just two for loops and an image. So pretty much the for loops have there's two for loops. There's scan x and scan y, the two variables that are key in reading the image, because basically all this does is reads the image. So basically scan x and scan y basically just scan over the image and then return the RGB value of each individual pixel as it goes across it. This value here is only just because the image is 32 by 32. Now the reason I've got 31 is because the image starts at 0, and if I set it to 32, the actual scan will go off the picture and give me an error. So if I can give you a little visual representation of how the scanner works, all it does is basically just goes from pixel to pixel, returning the color value. Alright, and you basically set if it hits a certain color value, what block to draw. Alright, and so for instance, if it's black, if it keeps detecting black, it'll keep drawing, say, a stone floor texture. Once it hits a red, for instance, it could draw a wood floor texture. So the map, it's important to load your map file or your map image as a new image data. For some reason, I'm not quite sure why, but that's just how you have to do it. And basically it allows you to utilize this getPixel function, which is what basically is what you use to return the pixel value. And so you can see here we're using the scan x and the scan y variable put in there. Basically the for loop provides that with the locations to get the pixel data from, and that returns four values. You got your R, G, B, and A values. And so, of course, if you know your colors, R is red, G is green, B is blue, and A is alpha. So, first of all, what you want to do is have some if statements which check the color values being returned each iteration of the for loops. So, we'll do an if. Because I've only got black and red, we can just do a check on, I guess, black and red. So we'll check the red value. So if red equals 255, so that's if it's red, then we'll do our add tile function at the scan x, scan y, because it's pretty much just recreating the image inside of Love again. So scan x, scan y, you need your width. We're just going to do 16 by 16 here, and the type is what we'll be using to draw things with, so it knows if it's like a, so we can just assign that a title, so we can assign, like, say, it's just easier to carry it across. So if it's red, it'll add, say, a red tile, and it'll know if it's a red tile to draw a certain texture. So anyway, so add type red, and then instead of ending this, we'll just do a else if. Let's just do else. So that's if it's any other color, then add tile scan x, scan y, 16 by 16, and we'll just do black. So in theory, all this is doing is checking if it's red. If it's red, add the tile with a red value. If it's not red, if it's any other color than red, then add a tile with a black value. Now, you need to also have your two textures, since we're using two colors. So I've got my stone floor, my wood floor textures, which I just got off Google. Of course, if you know Love, you should know how to get images. They are 16 by 16. That's why I've set this to 16 by 16, so it knows the width. So basically now when you're going to draw the stuff, let me just complete this so we can start from scratch, you need a for loop that iterates over the grid and checks for this value, so red or black, whether a tile at a certain position in the grid is that color and what to draw at that position. So pretty much all we do is we have an if v.type, so remember the type back in the add tile function, if v.type equals red, then we'll just end it or else it and end it. And so if it's red, let's say we'll draw some wood floor, so wherever it's red we'll add some wood floor. So we do love.graphics.draw wood underscore floor at v.x v.y. Now you want to make sure you times it by v.width and times it by v.height. That's so that it has this space. I'll demonstrate it without it, so you'll see it won't look quite right. So let's just add the rest of the code. Now let's just add whether it's not red, so we'll just do stone underscore floor. So this is what it's going to look like. So if I go to my project file, alright, so we run it. Oops, what did I do? 39 drawable expected. Oh, that's right. So because it's in a table, it needs to be text. Sorry about that. So we just run it. You see it's very small, and that's because it's only incrementing 1 pixel, and these textures are 16 by 16, so they're just overlapping each other. Alright, and it's all crammed up in this top left corner, so they're not going to be spaced out right. So you need to space them out. So we just times it by the width and times it by the height. Just do it again. So times by v dot width and times by v dot height, and then once we run it, there you go. You've got the map being drawn off pixel data. So I'll just bring up the map again. So this is what it's reading, and this is what's producing. So this is very helpful if you don't want to hard code your maps and you want them to read off a file. You could just use image file and draw your own maps up. It's a lot faster than having to hard code everything. Also, it adds really nice support for people to make their own levels for games that you make. So yeah, guys, that's been a little bit of a quick tutorial. I hope you enjoy it. I hope my explaining hasn't been too bad. I'm not the best at explaining, but I hope you get the general gist. I'll put the code in the description so you can just copy and paste it, mess around with it however you like. Alright, thanks guys. See ya.